Welcome to Module 4. Blocks, Shadows, and Control Structures. In this module, we'll examine Go's lexical scope rules, variable shadowing, and various control structures. We'll cover if statements, for loops, switch statements, and discuss best practices for writing clear and efficient control flow in Go. Welcome to Module 4 Blocks, Shadows, and Control Structures. Question 1. What is a block in Go? Answer. A block in Go is a possibly empty sequence of declarations and statements within matching curly braces. Blocks define scopes for variables, constants, types, and functions. Question 2. What is variable shadowing in Go? Answer. Variable shadowing occurs when a variable in an inner scope has the same name as a variable in an outer scope. The inner variable shadows the outer one, making it inaccessible in the inner scope. Question 3. How does the if statement work in Go? Answer. The if statement in Go allows for conditional execution of code. It can include an optional initialization statement before the condition. The syntax is, if initialization, condition, code. The initialization is separated from the condition by a semicolon. Question 4. What is the purpose of the else clause in an if statement? Answer. The else clause in an if statement provides an alternative code block to execute when the if condition is false. It allows for bifurcation in the program flow based on the condition. Question 5. How does the for loop work in Go? Answer. The for loop in Go is versatile and can be used in several ways. The basic syntax is, for initialization, condition, post, code. It can also be used as a while loop with just a condition, or as an infinite loop with no clause. Question 6. What is the range clause in a for loop used for? Answer. The range clause in a for loop is used to iterate over various data structures like arrays, slices, maps, strings, and channels. It provides a convenient way to access both the index, or key, and value of each element. Question 7. How does the switch statement work in Go? Answer. The switch statement in Go provides multi-way execution. Unlike some languages, cases don't fall through by default in Go. Each case is followed by a block of statements, and only the matching case is executed. Question 8. What is a tagless switch in Go? Answer. A tagless switch in Go is a switch statement without an expression after the switch keyword. Each case then becomes a Boolean expression. It's equivalent to if-else chains and can be more readable for multiple conditions. Question 9. How does the fall-through keyword work in a switch statement? Answer. The fall-through keyword in a switch statement forces execution to continue to the next case, even if the current case matches. It's used when you want the behavior of case fall-through that's common in other languages like C. Question 10. What is the purpose of the break statement in Go? Answer. The break statement in Go is used to terminate the innermost for, switch, or select statement. It allows you to exit a loop or switch block prematurely based on certain conditions. Question 11. How does the continue statement work in Go? Answer. The continue statement in Go skips the rest of the current iteration of a loop and moves to the next iteration. It's useful when you want to skip certain elements in a loop based on some condition. Question 12. What is the difference between break and continue in a loop? Answer. Break terminates the loop entirely and moves to the code after the loop, while continue skips the rest of the current iteration and moves to the next iteration of the loop. Question 13. How do you use labels with break and continue in Go? Answer. Labels in Go can be used with break and continue to specify which loop or switch statement to break from or continue. This is particularly useful in nested loops. The syntax is, break label name or continue label name. Question 14. What is the goto statement in Go and when should it be used? Answer. The goto statement in Go transfers control to a labeled statement in the same function. While it exists in Go, it's generally discouraged due to the potential for creating confusing code. It's sometimes used for error handling in some Go codebases. Question 15. How does short variable declaration work in Go? Answer. Short variable declaration in Go uses the equals operator to declare and initialize variables in a single line. It infers the type of the variable from the value assigned to it. For example, x equals 5 declares x as an int and assigns it the value 5. Question 16. What is the scope of a variable declared in an if statement's initialization? Answer. A variable declared in an if statement's initialization is scoped to the if block and any associated else blocks. It's not accessible outside of these blocks. Question 17. How does the select statement work in Go? Answer. The select statement in Go is used to choose from multiple send or receive channel operations. It blocks until one of its cases can run, then executes that case. It's often used for managing multiple channels in concurrent programming. Question 18. What happens if multiple cases in a select statement are ready? Answer. If multiple cases in a select statement are ready, Go chooses one at random. This ensures fairness and prevents starvation of any particular case. Question 19. How can you implement a non-blocking channel operation using select? Answer. You can implement a non-blocking channel operation using select with a default case. If no other case is ready, the default case will execute immediately, allowing the program to continue without blocking. Question 20. What is the purpose of the blank identifier in Go? Answer. The blank identifier, represented by an underscore, is used to ignore values in assignments or function returns. It's useful when you need to satisfy Go's requirement that all variables be used, but you don't actually need the value. Question 21. How do you implement an infinite loop in Go? Answer. An infinite loop in Go can be implemented using for without any condition. For example, for code. This loop will continue indefinitely unless explicitly broken out of. Question 22. What is the difference between a for loop and a for range loop in Go? Answer. A regular for loop is more flexible and can be used for any kind of iteration. A for range loop is specifically designed for iterating over elements of arrays, slices, maps, strings, or channels, providing both the index, or key, and value of each element. Question 23. How do you exit a program prematurely in Go? Answer. You can exit a program prematurely in Go using the OS exit int function from the OS package. The integer argument is the exit status code. For example, OS exit 1 exits the program with a non-zero status indicating an error. Question 24. What is the init function in Go and how is it used? Answer. The init function in Go is a special function that's automatically executed before the main function. It's often used for initialization tasks. Each file can have multiple init functions, and they're executed in the order they appear in the file. Question 25. How do you handle multiple error conditions in Go without deeply nested if statements? Answer. To handle multiple error conditions without deeply nested if statements, you can use early returns. Check for errors at the beginning of a function and return immediately if an error is found. This keeps the main logic of the function at a consistent indentation level. Welcome to Module 5, Functions. This module dives into Go's approach to functions, covering topics such as function declarations, parameters, return values, and variadic functions. We'll also explore advanced concepts like closures, defer statements, and panic and recover mechanisms. Question 1. How do you declare a function in Go? Answer. In Go, you declare a function using the func keyword, followed by the function name, parameters in parentheses, return type, and the function body in curly braces. For example, func add, xint, int, return x plus y. Question 2. What is a variadic function in Go? Answer. A variadic function in Go is a function that can accept a variable number of arguments. It's declared by using an ellipsis before the type of the last parameter. For example, func sum, nums.int, int. Question 3. How do you return multiple values from a function in Go? Answer. In Go, you can return multiple values from a function by listing the return types in parentheses. For example, func divide, x, y float 64, error. If y equals 0, return 0, errors. New, division by 0, return x, y, nil. Question 4. What are named return values in Go? Answer. Named return values in Go allow you to give names to the return values in the function declaration. These names can be used like regular variables within the function, and a bare return statement will return their current values. For example, func divide, x, y float 64, result float 64, error. Question 5. How do you define and use an anonymous function in Go? Answer. An anonymous function in Go is a function without a name. You can define and use it in a single expression. For example, func, fmt, println, hello, world. This defines and immediately invokes an anonymous function. Question 6. What is a closure in Go? Answer. A closure in Go is a function value that references variables from outside its body. The function may access and assign to the referenced variables. This allows the function to close over its environment. Closures are often used to create function factories. Question 7. How do you pass a function as an argument to another function in Go? Answer. In Go, functions are first-class citizens, so you can pass them as arguments to other functions. You specify the function signature as the type of the parameter. For example, func apply, fn func, int, val int, return fn, val. Question 8. What is the difference between a function and a method in Go? Answer. In Go, a function is a standalone unit of code, while a method is a function associated with a particular type. Methods have a receiver argument that appears between the func keyword and the method name. For example, func, r rectangle, area, float 64, return r, width *r, height. Question 9. How do you handle errors in Go functions? Answer. In Go, it's common to return an error as the last return value of a function. The caller can then check if the error is nil to determine if the function executed successfully. For example, if result, error, equals some function, error, equals nil, handle error, else, use result. Question 10. What is the defer keyword used for in Go functions? Answer. The defer keyword in Go is used to schedule a function call to be run after the function completes. Deferred function calls are executed in last in first out order. It's often used for cleanup actions like closing files or network connections. Question 11. How do you create a function that returns another function in Go? Answer. In Go, you can create a function that returns another function by specifying a function type as the return type. For example, func make adder, x int, func, int, return func, y int, return x plus y. This is often used to create closures. Question 12. What is the init function in Go and how is it used? Answer. The init function in Go is a special function that's automatically executed before the main function. It's often used for initialization tasks. Each package can have multiple init functions, and they're executed in the order they appear in the source code. Question 13. How do you use function literals in Go? Answer. Function literals in Go are anonymous functions that can be used as values. They can be assigned to variables, passed as arguments, or returned from other functions. For example, square equals func, x int, return x *x. Question 14. What is the purpose of the blank identifier in function returns? Answer. The blank identifier, _ in function returns is used to ignore specific return values. This is useful when a function returns multiple values, but you're only interested in some of them. For example, result, _ equals some function, ignores the second return value, which might be an error. Question 15. How do you implement a variadic function that accepts different types? Answer. To implement a variadic function that accepts different types in Go, you can use the empty interface, as the type of the variadic parameter. For example, func print all, args, interface, for _ arg, equals range args, fmt, println, arg. Question 16. What is a higher order function in Go? Answer. A higher order function in Go is a function that takes one or more functions as arguments, or returns a function as its result, or both. This concept is fundamental to functional programming and is supported in Go due to its treatment of functions as first-class citizens. Question 17. How do you use the recover function in Go? Answer. The recover function in Go is used to regain control of a panicking Go routine. It's only useful inside deferred functions. When called inside a deferred function, recover captures the panic value and returns it, allowing the program to continue execution. Question 18. What is the difference between a value receiver and a pointer receiver in method declarations? Answer. A value receiver passes a copy of the value to the method, while a pointer receiver passes a pointer to the value. Pointer receivers can modify the original value and are more efficient for large structs. Value receivers are used when you don't need to modify the original value. Question 19. How do you implement function overloading in Go? Answer. Go doesn't support traditional function overloading where multiple functions can have the same name with different parameters. However, you can achieve similar functionality using interfaces, variadic functions, or optional parameters with struct types. Question 20. What is a recursive function in Go and when would you use it? Answer. A recursive function in Go is a function that calls itself. It's often used to solve problems that can be broken down into smaller, similar subproblems. Common examples include tree traversals, factorial calculations, and solving mathematical series. Question 21. How do you use the built-in panic function in Go? Answer. The panic function in Go is used to cause a runtime error. It immediately stops the execution of the current function and begins unwinding the stack. If not recovered, it will cause the program to crash. It's typically used for unrecoverable errors. Question 22. What is the purpose of the init function in package initialization? Answer. The init function is used for package initialization. It's called after all variable declarations in the package have evaluated their initializers, and those are evaluated only after all imported packages have been initialized. This ensures proper setup of packages before they're used. Question 23. How do you implement optional parameters in Go functions? Answer. Go doesn't have built-in optional parameters, but you can simulate them using variadic functions, struct types with default values, or functional options pattern. For example, you can use a config struct with default values and only set the fields you want to change. Question 24. What is the difference between a function and a method in terms of how they're called? Answer. Functions are called directly by name, like function name, args. Methods are called on an instance of a type, like instance, method name, args. Methods have an implicit first parameter, the receiver, which is the instance the method is called on. Question 25. How do you use function types in Go? Answer. Function types in Go allow you to declare variables or struct fields that hold functions. You define a function type by specifying the function signature. For example, type operator func, int declares a function type that takes two ints and returns an int. Welcome to Module 6 Pointers. Question 1. What is a pointer in Go? Answer. A pointer in Go is a variable that stores the memory address of another variable. It allows indirect access to a value stored in memory. Pointers are declared using an asterisk before the type, like int for a pointer to an integer. Question 2. How do you declare and initialize a pointer in Go? Answer. You can declare a pointer using the asterisk symbol before the type. To initialize it, you can use the in operator to get the address of a variable. For example, var p int x equals 5, p equals an x. Alternatively, you can use the new function, p equals new int. Question 3. What is dereferencing in Go and how is it done? Answer. Dereferencing in Go is the process of accessing the value stored at the address held by a pointer. It's done using the asterisk operator before the pointer variable. For example, if p is a pointer to an int, p gives you the int value it points to. Question 4. What is the zero value of a pointer in Go? Answer. The zero value of a pointer in Go is nil. This represents a pointer that doesn't point to any memory address. It's important to check if a pointer is nil before dereferencing it to avoid runtime panics. Question 5. How do you create a pointer to a struct in Go? Answer. You can create a pointer to a struct in Go using the an operator with a struct literal, or by using the new function. For example, p equals and my struct field value, or p equals new myStruct, both create a pointer to a new myStruct instance. Question 6. What is the difference between passing a value and passing a pointer to a function in Go? Answer. When you pass a value to a function, a copy of the value is made. Changes to this copy don't affect the original value. When you pass a pointer, you're passing the memory address of the value. The function can then modify the original value through this pointer. Question 7. How do you declare a method with a pointer receiver in Go? Answer. To declare a method with a pointer receiver in Go, you use an asterisk before the receiver type in the method declaration. For example, func p_person, change name, new name string, p, name equals new name. This allows the method to modify the receiver. Question 8. What is the difference between new and make functions in Go? Answer. New t allocates zeroed storage for a new item of type t and returns its address, a value of type t. Make t args creates slices, maps, and channels only, and returns an initialized, not zeroed, value of type t, not t. Make takes type-specific initialization arguments. Question 9. Can you have a pointer to a pointer in Go? If yes, how? Answer. Yes, Go supports pointers to pointers. You can declare a pointer to a pointer by using two asterisks. For example, var p ** int declares a pointer to an int. This can be useful in some advanced scenarios or when working with certain APIs. Question 10. How do you handle nil pointer dereferences in Go? Answer. To handle nil pointer dereferences, you should always check if a pointer is nil before dereferencing it. For example, if p equals nil, value equals p, else, handle nil case. This prevents runtime panics that occur when trying to dereference a nil pointer. Question 11. What is pointer arithmetic and is it allowed in Go? Answer. Pointer arithmetic involves performing arithmetic operations on memory addresses. Unlike C, Go does not allow pointer arithmetic. This design decision was made to enhance memory safety and prevent common programming errors associated with direct memory manipulation. Question 12. How do you compare pointers in Go? Answer. In Go, you can compare pointers using the equals and equals operators. These comparisons check if the pointers point to the same memory address. For example, if p1 equals p2, pointers point to the same address. Note that this doesn't compare the values being pointed to. Question 13. What is the purpose of the unsafe pointer type in Go? Answer. Unsafe pointer is a special type in Go that can hold the address of any variable. It's used for low-level programming when you need to bypass the type system, like in systems programming or when interfacing with C. However, its use is discouraged in normal Go programs as it can lead to unsafe behavior. Question 14. How do you create a slice from an array using pointers in Go? Answer. You can create a slice from an array using a pointer by first getting a pointer to the array, then using slice syntax. For example, arranged by equals 5, int 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, p equals and arranged by slice equals p3. This creates a slice of the first three elements of the array. Question 15. What is the difference between a value receiver and a pointer receiver in method declarations? Answer. A value receiver passes a copy of the value to the method, while a pointer receiver passes a pointer to the value. Pointer receivers can modify the original value and are more efficient for large structs. Value receivers are used when you don't need to modify the original value or when working with primitive types. Question 16. How do you implement a linked list in Go using pointers? Answer. To implement a linked list in Go, you typically define a node struct with a value and a pointer to the next node. For example, type node struct, value int, next node. You can then create and link nodes using pointers, n1 equals and node, value, 1, n2 equals and node, value, 2, n1, next equals n2. Question 17. What is the purpose of the UINTPTR type in Go? Answer. uintptr is an integer type in Go that's large enough to hold the bit pattern of any pointer. It's primarily used for low-level programming, such as when interfacing with C libraries or performing unsafe pointer conversions. Unlike unsafe pointer, uintptr is a plain integer and doesn't preserve type safety or trigger the garbage collector to keep its referent alive. Question 18. How do you handle circular references in structs using pointers in Go? Answer. Circular references in structs can be handled using pointers. For example, in a tree structure, type node struct, value int, parent node, children, node. Here, parent is a pointer to allow circular references. Be cautious with circular references as they can lead to memory leaks if not handled properly. Question 19. What is the purpose of the reflect package in relation to pointers in Go? Answer. The reflect package in Go provides a way to examine, modify, and create variables, functions, and structs at runtime. With pointers, it allows you to examine if a value is a pointer, get the value a pointer refers to, or create new pointers. This is useful for writing generic algorithms or for implementing marshalling and unmarshalling of data. Question 20. How do you use pointers with slices in Go? Answer. When you pass a slice to a function, you're actually passing a pointer to the slice header, which contains a pointer to the underlying array. This means that changes to the slice's contents within the function will be visible to the caller. However, if you want to modify the length or capacity of the slice, you need to return the modified slice. Question 21. What is escape analysis in Go and how does it relate to pointers? Answer. Escape analysis is a process the Go compiler uses to determine whether a variable can be allocated on the stack or must be allocated on the heap. Variables that escape to the heap are often those whose addresses are taken, creating pointers, and might be used after the function returns. This analysis helps optimize memory usage and garbage collection. Question 22. How do you use pointers with interfaces in Go? Answer. In Go, both pointer and value types can satisfy an interface. When you have a pointer receiver method, only pointer types implement the interface. When you have a value receiver, both value and pointer types implement the interface. This flexibility allows for efficient implementation of interfaces without unnecessary indirection. Question 23. What is the difference between AND-value and new type in Go? Answer. AND-value takes the address of an existing value, while new type allocates zeroed storage for a new value of type and returns a pointer to it. AND-value is used when you already have a value and want a pointer to it, while new is used when you want to create a new zero value and get a pointer to it. Question 24. How do you implement optional parameters in Go using pointers? Answer. You can implement optional parameters in Go using pointers to struct fields. By using a pointer, you can check if the parameter was provided, non-nil, or not, nil. For example, func do something, config, if config, optional param. Equals nil, use config, optional param. This pattern is often used in configuration structs. Question 25. What are some best practices for using pointers in Go? Answer. Some best practices for using pointers in Go include 1. Use pointers to share mutable state or to optimize for large structs. 2. Always check for nil before dereferencing. 3. Use value receivers for methods unless you need to modify the receiver. 4. Be cautious with pointer receivers on exported types as they allow mutation of the value. 5. Avoid unnecessary indirection. Use values when the semantics of the value are more appropriate.